Oh, do I have to hold this? Really? Evening? Sorry, now it does feel like stand-up, doesn't it? Okay. So I'm Lee. I work for Autism West Midlands. What do you want to know? I've worked for them 25 years. My friends are autistic. My son has learning difficulties, autistic traits. We always laugh because my friend and I, who's autistic, because professionals always start off by saying how long they've done the job, don't they? Like that's a validation that you're any good.
That they understand.
Yes, I get it. I've been 25 years. Hopefully I know what I'm on about. So today we're going to talk about low arousal, or this evening. Any button, he said. He said any button? Apart from that one. There we go. Okay, I sort of came across the concept of low arousal probably about 20 years ago, and Andy McDonald, he is a clinical psychologist and he works for a company called Studio 3. And so the idea is low arousal is managing a crisis, applying the least intrusive strategy. Heat at the moment crisis, charged with adrenaline, is the worst time to negotiate with people. And we probably do that as parents, yeah? Rather than the phrase, give them an inch and they'll take a mile, try the alternative, give them an inch and you'll gain yards. Be the better person and give in. Now I know part of you, some of you, your brain's going, yes, but I'm the parent. Yeah. How's that going for you so far? That philosophy. Yes, it doesn't work, does it? I quite like, always think of this, some of you have heard me talk before, so it's nothing new. You ever had a parking ticket? Yeah, if you get a parking ticket, there's two approaches. The first approach is, I shouldn't have parked there. And if you have that approach, you'll never park there again and you won't get a ticket. The next approach is, all traffic wardens are idiots. If you believe all traffic wardens are idiots, you'll park there tomorrow and you'll get another parking ticket, which reinforces your belief that all traffic wardens are idiots. They're not the idiot. So, if you have an approach that you use with your children and it keeps going wrong, it's not the child that is the slow learner. That also includes any professionals in the room, by the way. I work with kids that have 100 detentions in a year. They're not the problem. And think on about that. Okay? So, low arousal then. So this is kind of anxiety over time. It's got affect sensitivity on the edge. Now, affect sensitivity is how we respond to the environment. Now, that line there, actually, when you're young, starts quite low. And then as you get older, that line rises. So you can deal with things going wrong as you get older. Interestingly, over about the age of 70, that line then lowers. So it starts to come down. And then that's the behaviour cycle there. And obviously we have self-control. So at this point we're all in control, everything's great. And then no control, that's your chaos. Throwing furniture, biting, kicking, punching, screaming, road rage, all that. And there's 3 stages to low arousal. First stage is obviously we want to try and keep somebody in control. So manage the behaviour without escalating the situation. So that's the theme. So it comes in 3 points. This approach. It's actually, the whole thing is it's a whole philosophy. What people tend to do is just want to pick one of them, and it doesn't work. You have to pick sort of all 3. So that's stage 1. Stage 2, you probably will have to go hands-on at that point, but then it's how you go hands-on. Okay, and the phrase I often use is we should only go hands-on if there's an immediate danger to self or others. So if other people are being hit, or your children are running in the road, you may have to get hold of them. Okay, you're not necessarily going to get hold of them just because they won't sit at the dinner table. That's not really an immediate danger. That's just you thinking they're being a bit annoying. And then the last approach to this is evaluating what happened and saying, what did we do wrong? What happened? Did we escalate the situation? So a bit of self-reflection. And then we'll go through those 3 stages. We'll have a look at those. So stage 1 then, so let's look at what we can do. And interestingly, this is the key stage. If we get this right, we never have to rely on the other stages. Okay? So, I like this quote from Ross Greene. A really good book, The Explosive Child. Children do well if they can. Your children are not evil. Okay, contrary to what you might think sometimes. What it is they're just put in a situation where they can't control the situation, and they deal with that as best they can. This actually, it is a really good book because it talks about how you work through the behaviour with the child, maybe have a discussion about what went wrong. And again, hang on, I'm the parent, aren't I? Don't I just tell them what went wrong? You might have to have a discussion with them. And the way to understand sort of behaviour is look at it as somebody problem solving. Now, have you ever been in a difficult situation? Probably, yeah. And did you do the best that you can do? Yeah, of course you did. And it was the other person that was an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what happens. So you do the best that you can do. So you might get, you're driving down the road and I don't know, somebody might be driving too slow in front of you, and then you think that's a problem, so then you overtake them. But they think what you did was a problem, so then they chase you. And then you might think that's a problem, so you speed up. Yeah? And then they think that's a problem, so then they cut in front of you. And that's what happens with your children. So they're just problem solving, but they're using the wrong solutions. Okay? And that's where it says, I have a problem that I solve, my solution becomes a problem for someone else, their solution becomes a problem for me to solve, and then there's a conflict, and it's only resolved by one of us using a solution that doesn't become a problem for the other person. Okay? And then the attitude is, yes, it should be the child. Okay? But it actually should be the person that is capable to solve that problem, and usually that's actually the adult. So solutions, we would like to teach our children to use solutions that don't cause problems for us. But wouldn't it be more logical to find solutions that don't create problems for them in order to avoid powerlessness and lack of control? And control is a really key thing. It says here you have to have self-control in order to lend somebody else control of the situation. So let's try something. You didn't think you were going to get away tonight without doing anything. So what I'd like you to do is stand up for me, please. Ooh, ooh. Suddenly people are starting to think, hang on a minute, I'm not feeling in control. What's he going to do? Then what I want you to do is put one foot in front of the other. There you go, so you can see this. And then all I want you to do is very gently rock backwards and forwards. That's all you've got to do. That's fantastic. And then just wiggle both hands, give me jazz hands. That's fantastic. And then I just need you to do one more thing for me. All I need you to do is to take your clothes off for me. Okay, sit down. So, during that situation, were you in control? Yeah. You were all in total control. And it's interesting, isn't it? At the one point where you thought that you were going to be losing control, you went, That wasn't because you was having a good time. That was because you were going, really? And then part of you wanted to go, I think I need to escape from this situation. So you might have tried to sit down. Now obviously some of you would have gone, oh, and take your clothes off. But interesting, so you had total control throughout. But imagine then, where's Satch? Is she here? Right, Satch, get here now. Get here now. Come on, you better get here now or there's going to be trouble. Yeah? So at that point, if she knew, because she's not moving, yeah, do you think she'd feel in control? So when you remove control from somebody, then they start to panic, and that's what happens with children. And the thing I want you to understand, and this is, I suppose it's the way we've all been brought up, that unfortunately with children it's all about power, and it's all about controlling them. And as a parent you control your child, and as a professional you control the child, so like a teacher. Okay? And it sounds terrifying because that's how you're brought up. You must have total control. And then that's how you mould people. No, you don't. It's a kind of a myth. Some of you are now twitching. Okay, you don't need total control, and actually to get more control you give people control. But it's that scary bit, isn't it? A friend of mine's in here tonight, and they came on a course with me once, and it is terrifying, this kind of thought process. And she said, if you are wrong, there you go. If you're wrong, I'm going to hunt you down. She hasn't hunted me down yet. Okay, unless she's turned up to hunt me down, so she might have. So I know it sounds really bizarre, but if you have a child that runs, yeah, what happens is, well, okay, I'll kind of give you an example. Okay, imagine this is the exit to the room. Okay. Right, you're not allowed to leave. Yeah? What suddenly do you have a feeling of? You want to leave. But you're not allowed to. You're going to sit there and listen to me talk. And suddenly you're going, I don't like this anymore. But I need to leave. So, interestingly, if you have a child that's a runner, what you do, if you want to leave, you can leave. I know. Ooh. But then Lee, he will leave. Yes, but if you're a good teacher, he'd want to come back. And that's the thing. But then you might say, what you might do is give them a reference where they can run to. So you might say, there's a tree in the grounds. If you're stressed, you can run there. But you can leave if you need to. And that's what you do. And actually, if you then say to somebody you can do that, they're less inclined to want to do it. But the minute you shut the door, or another example is if any of you smoke. Yeah, no one sees. It's like a shameful activity now. 20 years ago. Yeah, now it's like, Muriel, don't put your hand up. Okay. So if I said to you, you smoked, you are not allowed to smoke tonight, suddenly you start twitching. You can, by the way. Yeah. I do recognise you, by the way. I trust. It's a bit weird seeing all these faces and going, I know that person, I know that person. Okay. And yeah, we must strive to make sure our children keep their control, which again, I know we battle with that kind of concept. And we have to use methods that help our children to lend control to us. And that's what you do, isn't it? You know, when you're in situations, I mean, think about how do you, what do you think you can do to get somebody to want to, or, you know, what would make you feel comfortable to let somebody control you? What's important in that situation? Trust. So trust, isn't it? So that person that you don't know says, get here now, you're probably not think not. Yeah? So you need a relationship with somebody, don't you? And that's really key. So you have to think about things like that. And then, so the affect trigger is about how sensitive individuals are. And like I said, the higher up they climb, the more stressed they can be. Let's have a look. So positive warning signs of our children becoming stressed. So saying no. So do any of your children say no to things quite a lot? Yeah. If you say no to things, you actually keep safe. I say no all the time. It's awesome. I never have any problems. Do you want to come to this party? No, thank you. Do you want to meet the new neighbours? No, thank you. It keeps you safe. Interestingly, a lot of boys on the spectrum say no. It's called bunker mentality. And then some of your children might say no, and then half an hour go, okay, I'll go. Because what they do, they protect themselves by saying no, and then think about it and go, actually, do you know what? I think I would. I think I'll do that. Now, the interesting thing with a lot of the girls say yes, but interestingly, are not equipped to deal with the yes. So that's where a lot of high-functioning girls in particular can develop mental health problems. Because what happens is they're doing these things that they think they should be doing, but can't deal with them when they're in that situation. Lying, do any of you lie?
No.
No, of course you don't. Yeah, lying is a good skill. There was a study done in Denmark a few years back that said one of the things we need to teach children to do, I love this stuff, because if you're new parents and you've never met me before, you'll be going, what? You said what? We should be teaching our children to lie. Okay? Call it diplomacy. That's what lying is, isn't it? You know, to say a politician never answers a question. Isn't that annoying? It's not whether it's right or wrong, it's whether, I'm there, look, do any of you scream at the TV? You just answer the damn question. And they don't answer it, do they? But lying is a good skill, so if my wife says I'm looking old, I've got to try and respond convincingly, no, you're not. And anybody that knows me, when I go high pitched like that, it means I'm lying. I find it really difficult, because in my head, we are getting old. And I say, no, you know, you're looking good for an older. But apparently that's inappropriate. Yes, I tick a few of the boxes, I know. I am aware of that. So yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? Our kids aren't very good at lying. I mean, so don't get me wrong, there are some children that can lie, but a lot of them are really bad. And then they get caught, that's the thing, isn't it? This is the whole point, right? You lie beautifully. Yeah? And nobody catches you most of the time. Do you see? The problem with our kids is they're that bad at it, they get caught. And we go, they're lying. And then I was lying 10 minutes ago, but you didn't know. And that's the problem. And the other thing is, and think about this in the future though, if you disagree with me, because what will happen is, yes, isn't it cute when a 6-year-old tells the truth? It's not so cute when you're 15, and they go, you're a crap teacher, I'm leaving. I'm not having grandma's present, it's rubbish. Yeah, I'm sure you've all experienced that. So actually, we do need to teach them to lie. Yeah, and it is a warning sign. There's some, you know, if a policeman said to you, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you know how fast you were going?" I bet you'll go, "No." You won't go, "Yes, officer, I was doing 45 in a 30, but it was midnight, so what's the problem?" Because you know the consequences. Bad names, do any of you swear? No. Of course you do. Yeah. And again, you swear, and it's a way of venting that you're stressed. So if somebody cuts you up in the car, yeah, you might rant a bit. Threats, do any of you threaten people? Remember, you're on camera. Jack's got you on camera. So do you ever threaten people? Oh, no, well, you can threaten people that cut you up. Do you ever threaten your kids? Do you ever threaten to kill your kids? Remember, you're on camera. Look at it and you go, no. You lie. You see, you're lying already. You are. Get up them stairs or I'll kill you. Right. So when you say that, do you mean that? No, you're stressed, aren't you? Yeah, so if you threaten, you are stressed. Anybody that wanted to kill you, they're not going to go, I'm going to kill you. They'll kill you. Seriously. So anybody that basically, think of a dog growling. Yeah? A dog growls. What do you do when a dog growls? Do you back off? You don't go, do not talk to me like that. Because what would happen if you did that? It would bite you. But see, now this is when power's involved with your children. Because what happens is this, isn't it? Because they snarl at you or swear at you. And then what do? You go, do not talk to me like that. And then what do? Do they punch you? Yeah? Whereas I know they need to learn. Yeah? But they may have difficulty in learning, and that's the problem, isn't it? So actually, what low arousal says is when they, you know, let's say they use colourful language, you go, you better back up now. Even though you're the parent, you better go, okay, I'll be back in 10 minutes. And that's what you do. Ooh, somebody quiet. Lee, I'm not comfortable with that. Because they will win. That's what your brain's saying, isn't it? They will win. They need to learn, Lee. They've got learning difficulties and they've got autism. They have difficulty with learning. Do you see, we're going, and can you see how you go full circle? You keep saying they need to learn. At what point are they going to learn? Can you see how you keep applying the same approach and it never changes? We're the slow learner. And that's the problem. The problem is because you were brought up that way. And because you were brought up that way, and it didn't do you any harm, because that's what your mum will tell you. Although you walk around twitching every time she shouldn't. Yeah? No, that's what happens, isn't it? Yeah? But this is really interesting. We're learning so much about behaviour and children, and it's really interesting. It's like, I shared it. I love this. There's a guy who's absolutely phenomenal, a guy called Bo Alvin. I know some of you have kind of come across his work. He's amazing. And right, so you know when you've got a toddler and they're trying to walk and then they, tumble over, just shout at them. No, why not? Haven't they got to learn? It's gone very quiet. I'm not advocating this, by the way, it's on camera. Or do you encourage them? And you go, come on, you can do it. I believe in you. You might not do that. Go, come on, come to mommy. Do you do that? No. You're a hard bunch. Sorry, it's the nanny that does it, isn't it? Just checking. Okay. Right. So you don't smack them when they fall over, do you? No. Okay. And the research, this is in Bo Alvin's book, Sulky Rowdy Rude, really good book. And basically, children learn through reward and praise. Yeah? Makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah? The adult brain, over 18, that adult brain learns through failure. So when you screw up, you go, right, where did it go wrong? What can I do different? But punishment systems are based on failure. So we use punishment systems for adults on children. It's quite seen. You go, ooh. And it's just that food for thought with regards to that. Yeah? So it's about rewarding behaviour and encouraging good behaviour. That's how you do it. It's not about slapping 300 detentions on them and go, he'll learn, and then they don't. Okay? So it's about having that. Sheltering off, by the way, sheltering off is, I don't know, you might come across some children that put a hood up over their head. Yeah? It's a great, basically, the way to understand it is, think of you, I actually sit at home with my hoodie up, I quite like it. It dampens down everything. And so what will happen is some of your children will come into a room with their hood up. And it's a coping strategy because it filters out the rest of the world. And then what do? Get your hood off. Yeah? And then they take the hood off. And then, whoosh, up they go. Another form of sheltering off is locking yourself in your room so that your children spend a lot of time in their bedroom. Yeah, that's okay, by the way. Hang on a minute, what did he say? He's coming out with all these things that I'm not used to. It's okay to spend loads of time in your room. Yes, but we want them to socialise. Yeah, I understand that you want that. But again, you've got to have good social skills to socialise. Okay? And by the way, just being in a room full of people doesn't make you social. And that's what people don't think. We'll stick our kids in a room full of 50 people and they'll start being social. And it doesn't happen. Okay? So be aware of that. And then some individuals will self-harm. I don't know if any of your children self-harm. Self-harming, the brain has like this gating system for pain, and what happens is anxiety is often described as being painful. So what happens is some individuals will bang self-harm because the pain of hitting yourself in the head detunes the pain of not knowing the environment, what's going on. A friend of mine's son climbed up onto the roof of the house, and when he spoke afterwards, he said, I was that stressed about college, when I climbed up onto the roof, I thought I was going to die, and because I thought I was going to die, I forgot all about my problems. So it detunes people. And you can have, various forms of self-harm, picking nails, fingers to the bleed, biting your arm. Biting your arm's okay, by the way, it just doesn't look very nice. Worse than, that's not good, because it's your head. Biting is okay. Obviously, you try and substitute it then for something else, things like chewing gum. Invisible friends, tired and lazy. If your children have special interests, it'll tell you if they're not in a good place because they're spending more and more time with their special interests. Okay? And the other thing, and it's really interesting, it's kind of, you come across this quite a lot, people get very sort of bothered about things like video games. Yeah? Ooh. They go, video games are bad. So I go, if your child was playing football for 2 hours a night, would you let them? They go, yeah. Okay, would you let them play video games for 2 hours? And they go, no. I will share this with you. Your kids actually might, especially if they're online, are probably being social, playing video games. And it's a safe form of being social. Because then people can't take advantage of them. Well, they can, in theory, some people can, but they are still being social. So just be aware of that. And interestingly, if you want to connect with your kids and they've got special interests, learn to love their special interests. Even if you hate it, just fake being interested. Because they'll love you for it. I have to pretend to be interested in cage fighting. Every time I come back from work, oh, I should have seen this fight last night. And I only know Ronda Rousey, and she retired 3 years ago. And he'll go, shut up. And a lot of people I work with, I just say, oh yes, I'm interested, and they'll talk to me, 2 hours about Frozen, or horse riding, or whatever. It's very interesting. And then negative, so things like anxiety, insecurity, sleep problems. So some of our children don't sleep. The thing about sleep disorders, by the way, people get confused with this. If your child can sleep for 2 hours and then go to school and function, they don't have a sleep disorder. It's just they're annoying to you. If they sleep for 2 hours and then can't function, then they have a sleep disorder. Okay? Some people, for some reason, don't you hate them? They can function on like 3-4 hours. It's not right, is it? We need 9, 10. OCD increases. The more anxious somebody is, the more stressed somebody is. So on a good day, they might check the door 3 times. On a bad day, they might check it 20 times. And then the affect sensitivity again is picking up vibes from people. So let's say some of our children might struggle to read body language. What they're very good at is sensing the environment. And there's a chap called Dee Beadle who's autistic. And he said he could sense the teachers that didn't like him, which is really interesting. And they've done studies with newborn babies, and if they place 2 newborn babies next to each other and one cries, the other one senses sadness, but it thinks it is sad, so that one starts to cry. And have you ever noticed, when you're stressed, sometimes your children react? And that's because they know somebody is stressed in the room, but they don't know who it is. That also includes anger. So you might be having a row on your partner and suddenly upstairs the chairs go flying because they feel that anger. The plus side of that is if they are that sensitive, you can then project calm, hopefully. So if you can try and be calm in a situation, hopefully then you can come low. I'm quite good at that. My wife hates it. She said, because she's one of these people that always has to be doing things. Yeah? And are any of you like that? You always have to be doing stuff. Yeah? I'm not. I just, breathing, that's enough. So like for me, a weekend means I'm doing nothing. Netflix and PlayStation. That's why he advocates gaming. Okay. And she'll come in and she'll sit down by me, and then an hour later she says, do you know what? I hate sitting by you. Because I sit by you and I never want to do anything. Because that's my default, just calm. Yeah. I am conflicted because, like I always say, people that know me in the room, they'll know this. I basically, my default is either the Dalai Lama or the Hulk. Seriously. So when I get anxious, no, just move. Where are we? Yeah, mood swings, restlessness, concentration and memory. Interestingly, think of things like stage fright. I don't know if you've ever gone to give a speech. Stage did really well tonight. Because obviously, standing in front of people. If I suddenly, I don't know, should we do it as an example? Shall I give one of you the mic and just introduce yourself? Who would feel with dread at doing that? Yeah? And you might go, we're worried for the second part. And then there's Vicky going, my name's... That's psychological blunting, by the way. That is when somebody is that stressed, they can't remember things. And that's what happens to your children. So what happens is, in its extreme case, they may have a meltdown, and then they can't remember having the meltdown. And you'll go, you can remember. And they go, I can't. It happens in school as well. On a good day, they'll remember quadratic equations. On a bad day, they'll go, no, you never taught me them. And then people go, you liar. And they don't, seriously, they don't remember. And that's what happens, because people will say, you could do it yesterday. And it's as if, so I'm clearly lying to you. And that's the difficulty, understanding that. Language presence is, projecting. So I'm quite good at that one. If I get stressed, I go invisible. Not literally, because that would be awesome, wouldn't it? I'm the guy, do you know what? I don't know how I got married. I mean, I know how I got married, obviously. But I was the guy that never got served at the bar. Seriously. I thought I was going to get an R then, but... yeah, look at yeah, whatever. No, because I'd be there and I'd be that stressed because you've got to interact with people, and I'd never get served. And my friend Aaron, he's brilliant. He's autistic, and he one time he said, "What's wrong with you?" He said, "You're not. There's something. I don't know what it is." And it's that. It's presence. And then poor social skills. So on a good day, they might have beautiful manners. On a bad day, they tell you what to do. Okay. And then your children will have their own warning signs. Yeah, so some will make special sounds, clicks, whistles. Might have a special movement, just a flick of the hand or the head, or just somebody was telling me today that this person, their shoulders go up. So if they walk into a shop with this lad and his shoulders go up, the pop's going to go everywhere. But if he walks into the shop and his shoulders are down, he's okay. Tics, and then, yeah, some people will have special words. The one I use, which is, I shouldn't laugh at myself, but you got to, haven't you? When I'm really angry and I'm about to lose it, I go, seriously. And if I say that word, but you know what's really funny? I say it to my dogs. Which is hilarious, isn't it? Like they're going to go, okay, I'll be honest. And I'm there and I go, seriously. Don't. Did you do that as well? Well, you seriously. It's awesome, isn't it? It's awesome. Yeah, the blood drains out of some people's faces, and then some people have complex behaviour. So it can be anything. So I only have one story of complex behaviour, and it's not very nice. Okay, but I'll tell you. Hey, why not? So basically, there was this young lady who was in her 20s, and she was autistic, and every time she got highly stressed, she went to a bar, she got blind drunk, and came home with a complete stranger. And then she woke up the next day and went, yeah, I was stressed yesterday. And that's what she would repeatedly do. So that's kind of complex behaviour. And then, so what can we do? Okay, let's try another little exercise. Why not? Get the blood flowing. Okay, stand up for me. Hang on, I'm going to stand up again. What's going on? Okay, what I want you to do, I mean, it won't work it'll only work with a few of you in terms of numbers. So what I'd like you to do is turn and face the person next to you. If there's a spare, you can sit down. Look at that. Quick. Okay, fantastic. So what I want you to do is, with your partner, I want you to stand toe to toe. Okay, and listen, what I want you to do is, I want you to lock eyes on each other. And then I want you, we're going to count to 10, and you're not, now listen, you are not allowed to laugh. Okay, so look into each other's eyes, and place your hands on each other's shoulders. Okay, so we're going to, right, let's try total silence. So we'll count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then what we're going to do, hang on, no, don't break. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and you're going to shout at each other, no. Okay? 1, 2, 3. No! Brilliant. Sit down. Right then. Not talk for the rest of it. It's awesome. Okay. So, how did that feel? Was that good? No, it was uncomfortable. Yeah. And did any of you, no matter how much I said don't talk, you were like chatting and trying to make a joke? And yeah. Especially if you were looking at a stranger. You just have to buy dinner first before you get that close. And pretty much we broke all of these rules, okay? So when your children start getting a little bit tense, the first thing you need to do is obviously try and keep calm. And then that then links with the affect sensitivity, because if you are putting out calm, then they may sense that. and may calm. Okay? And then the next step, obviously, you don't stare, but the difficulty is we make prolonged eye contact because we think there's going to be a situation. So what do? We stare at them, don't we? And we give them that look. Do not their grandmas. Okay. And prolonged eye contact is threatening. Okay? And then speak calmly without jaw tension, but this is what parents do. They do this, don't they? They go, you better not do that. Okay. When you talk like that, it sounds really tense, doesn't it? Don't you dare. Yeah. So it's not. So you need to relax your jaw. Yeah. Is that what you do? You're laughing. Do you do that? You go, put on your shoes. It's time for school. I'm calmly. I am calm. That's it. But I am calm. I have this thing where you have to know me really well to look for it. I will bite down on my jaw, and you can actually see the indentation. And if people talk to me, and I'm going, and you see the bite, run. Proprioception, pressure. I'm just going, okay. But that's control, though, isn't it? That's the whole point, it's control. Try and use distraction. Okay, it really works. So when a situation starts to get tense, I don't know, talk in a different language, stand on one leg, squawk like a chicken, bark like a dog. You know, when they're sort of going up that curve, just go, no hablo español. And I guarantee sometimes they might go, well, what the hell's going on here? So you could just try that. It doesn't always work, but don't do that. It's that threatening thing, isn't it, we do? See, it's the control. Because we're worried what's about to happen, so that's when we kind of grip tighter. Yeah? Now I've got Star Wars in my head. Sorry, you're now going, what? All the nerds are going, oh, this will be good. You know, the tighter you grip your fingers, the more stars will slip through your fingers. Look it up. But that's what, the more control you try to get, the less control you have. That's the whole point. So actually, try and relax, and then they might diffuse the situation. Yeah, when they step backwards, you step backwards. The problem is, again, they don't conform, and you do this, don't you? So I'm looking at Mandy, she's going, come near me, and I'll stab you. Sorry, I know Mandy, by the way. Yeah. But it's that, isn't it? They do that, you go, you what? See, it's the power thing again, isn't it? You've got to think, imagine somebody just says, what? You know, I mean, it's like the teacher. Sorry, just do this for a laugh. Why not? Because I can. You know, it's like, imagine, right, I don't know you, obviously. You're quite safe. I won't bite you. No, I'll pick up you. I know you. But it's like this, isn't it? Because you're like this, don't. And that's really intimidating, isn't it? And then do they then go up like a rocket? You're not meant to. Just sit there now. Just sit there and behave. Do what you're told. Yeah? Interestingly, the conformity at that point is fear, which that's not a good way to, you know, because people do, that's what our parents' generation said. Yeah, but he's learning respect. It's not, it's fear, by the way, you're deluding yourself. They're going, I'm terrified of him, and they might be doing it because they're terrified. That's not the right reason to do something, is it? But every generation says, no, it's respect. Not really. Yeah? I mean, it's interesting, you earn respect, you don't demand it. But again, we have conflicts. Yeah, you can tell I get on really well with my family, can't you? Because we have all these heated discussions. Yeah, my mum just keeps telling me you should beat kids. Because that's what we did. And it didn't do you any harm. And I go, no, Mum. It's true, isn't it? We'll have to disagree. Sorry, she used to do that with my son, by the way. You know, she'd be like, more discipline, more discipline. And then, you know, when they say, give him to me for 10 minutes, I'll sort him out. And then they're back after 3. Good God. it's like that, isn't it, yeah? Because that's the other thing with our kids, it doesn't work, does it? That's the whole parking ticket stuff. You try stuff, I get this all the time with parents. I mean, the best one was, A friend of mine, she said, oh, it's been really bad the weekend. I said, well, what happened? Wow, took his iPad off him. Okay. Why'd you do that? Teacher told me to. Right. And it went bad? Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have took the iPad off him. Yeah, but that's what they said. And it's that thing, isn't it? Be very careful who you take behaviour advice from. Yeah? You know, I always go, yeah, you're a psychologist. Yeah? Because our parents offer behaviour advice, don't they? Yeah? You might want to listen if they've got a PhD in psychology, but, you know, if they've just read it out of Bella, I'm not sure it's that. That's what they do, isn't it? I read this article today in The Sun, and you're like, yeah, Mum, must be true then. So I do that and then go, you're so disrespectful. I'm out the will, I think. So yeah, step back on the demand. Yeah, don't stand opposite the person. Yeah, so what you don't do is see everyone's going, look at the floor, Muriel, don't make eye contact with the bad man. So, I know you as well. So what you don't do is that. Okay? Again, I know it sounds really bizarre. You know, you can't do things like that. It's not so bad. It's not threatening, is it? Yeah? What really works in tense situations, I know this sounds really stupid, but things like this. Because I'm not threatening, you know. I'm not saying a teacher should do this, but it might help. But what do we do? What are you doing? Girl, what are you doing? And that's quite threatening, isn't it? Yeah, so one of the tricks is, Bo Alvin talks about this quite a lot. And I quite like it. You kind of almost like relaxed. It's like, yeah, there's no problem. It's kind of the most relaxed position you can be in. Yeah, I know there's that fear, she'll kick me in the head or she'll kick me in the head when I'm on the floor. Obviously, if they've gone up too high, they might. So you have to know your children when you do this stuff. And that's the other problem, by the way. The other problem is, because you've got size, you use it. Yeah? You keep doing that, and then when they get to 18, you see what happens. You want to start teaching them the right way now. Because like I say, it's dead easy when they're 6 and you go, come here. Sorry, I've only got one hand. I'm not really picking them up by the scruff, Jack. You're just like that, yeah? You like that, aren't you? But at 18, they're like, crisps. Okay. Right. Where are we? Yeah. Yeah. So sit down when the person's agitated. And this is what we do, don't we? We're like this. We start like this, and our kids get a little bit edgy. And they, you know, you're over there and you go, woo, like that, and I go, what? And you do that, don't you? See how that's just set her off? Whereas actually, they were quite calm when you were like that, so just sit down. It's okay. Yeah? What if, Lee, what if? Yeah, negative body language. Yeah, so you stand there like that. Go on. I dare you. Go on. Things like that. So open body language is quite good, non-threatening. Yeah, not the look. Again, they might not read the look if they struggle with body language. Yet we rely on it. Yeah, and then avoid being affected. So when they're angry, the problem is you climb as well with them. And the difficulty is this: when you climb, you're not thinking straight, and then that's when you use emotion to solve a problem. So they use anger, you use anger, and it doesn't work. Okay? I was suddenly thinking of a good doorman. Okay, he's very calm. I've now got Patrick Swayze in my head. You've got to be the cooler. Yeah, you've got to be very calm in this situation. Yeah, and then you try and almost like push this bubble around you of being calm. And you might go, yeah, you know what I'm on about. I do. Last week, in the space of 1 hour, I was in a residential service. There was 4 incidents that I was in the middle of. 4 very different incidents. And everyone's running around like headless chickens, and I'm like, okay, what do we do? Because you think then, okay, what can I do? Well, we'll go for a walk now, we'll do this, we'll do that. Whereas if you go, oh my God, you're not thinking straight, okay? And then the middle bit, I mean, I'm not going to dwell on this bit, but you may have to go hands-on. There's no doubt about it. You may have to get hold of your children to protect them. The only thing I sort of say about that is, you know, you see pictures like this. It doesn't look like that.
No.
Okay? It's a mess. And the only way to understand how that feels, right? I don't know if any of you ever had an older brother or sister, And did they ever like sit on you? Yeah? And they used to say to you, you stop moving, I'll get off. And you used to go, okay. And then what would you do when they got off you? You'd smack them. Yeah? So what actually happens is, when somebody's agitated, if you pin them down, the adrenaline is still flying round. And sorry, this is quite dark. People die then by being pinned because they asphyxiate. And the real sadness about this is people really believe they're doing the best, they're dealing with the situation the best possible. And again, a lot of it is adults because I'm in control, I have the power. Now I've got a snap in my head now. Sorry, this is just what happened. I just have songs in my head. Yeah, and it just says 150 documented related deaths. I mean, there was a young girl in Sweden. This is from Bo Alvin's book, No Biting, No Screaming, No Kicking. Really good book. But it's a horrible story. There was this 6-year-old girl, and she got ADHD, and we don't have the free milk now, do we? They take that from us. Okay. Sort it out, team. We want free milk. Okay. And so she got this milk, and so she got the straw, and she's blowing bubbles. Right? Teacher didn't like it. Took the straw off her. So she started blowing bubbles through the top of it. Teacher didn't like it. Took the milk off her. She had a meltdown. They restrained her. She died. Yeah, true story. It's only about 10 years ago. And that's the thing. So, again, it's really difficult because when you have power, this is the problem. When you have power, you use power. And the trick is not to. But it is difficult. I also understand in certain situations. Again, you hear with teachers quite a lot, they'll say things, yes, and that's the thing that the class need to know because otherwise I'll lose control. That's only because you're using the power-based system to control the whole class. Yeah, if you're actually connected with the kids, you know what? They might not give you half as much trouble. I know it's easier than said than done, Lee. Yeah, wait. Get other people out of the room if possible. So obviously if you've got other siblings as well, you can remove them. Avoid touching with tense muscles, and again, a lot of parents and professionals will grab and be very tense. But the problem is this: when somebody grabs you and they're tense, you will tense up. So that's the problem. So you do that, and then they go like that. And then, I'm not going to talk about this, but you use the other person's movement. So what you do is, one of the things is you might hold their arm, and rather than pin them, because this is what we do, we pin people, you actually hold the arm and then let them move the arm, but you're still holding the wrist. And then obviously if they're flaying 2 arms, you get maybe one person either side, and you let them move their arms. And they're kind of getting an aerobic workout. So they're kind of de-stressing, or walk them round as they do, but you don't pin. That's the key thing, because they don't burn anything off. And then stage 3, evaluate what happened. And this is difficult because 80% of challenging behaviour is caused by you lot. Okay? But you've got to take ownership of that. I caused that. I've caused loads of situations. The trick, though, is to make sure you try not to do it again. Yeah? But we do fall into... I love this example. Right. Imagine you're up a tree, and you're hanging from the branch. And hanging from the branch is a poisonous snake. And if you let go, there's a 50-foot drop, and at the bottom is a man-eating tiger. What do you have to ask yourself? How did you get into that situation? Yeah, people just walk into this, and it is about evaluating. So what happened just before this went wrong? Yeah, what did we expect them to be able to do? Did they have the skill set to be able to do it? And this is the thing we've got to realise is because again, autism is a developmental delay. Even though somebody's 15, have they got the skill set to cope as a 15-year-old? Maybe not. And that's why then we'll get into behaviour. Did our behaviour trigger the crisis? How can we make sure it won't happen again? Change what needs to be changed so that it doesn't happen again. That's when you enter these, what we call it behaviour management. You might need to really think things. I'm sure you've heard this phrase before, but a really good phrase is, does it really matter? Yeah. Again, you as parents have to change, and that's the hardest bit. I do a lot of parent workshops, and sorry, this sounds really harsh, but the best parents to work with are the ones that are broken. Sorry, that sounds really harsh, but what happens is you'll listen to me then. Whereas if you come to me right at the beginning, you're going to change your children. 10 years later, you go, Lee, I will listen to what you say. And there's lots of parents in here that have done work with me, and then they come back the following week and go, oh my God, it worked. But you've got to be prepared to listen, yeah, and give up. I did it, by the way. I was a horrible parent, just so you know. I was that one I talk about, because my dad raised me well. No, because basically, I was him. Bo Alvin talks about having a toolbox. You've got to find the tools that work right for each child. Every child's different. Each child has different tools. Again, we weren't taught that, were we? So you could have 2 children in the house with 2 different approaches you need. Yeah, my dad only had one discipline, so a hammer. Didn't work with one of the kids. Interestingly, this kid wasn't autistic and it didn't work with them. Their room was like a monastic cell by the end of secondary school. Guess what? Never changed them. And that's the thing. Eventually I went, oh my God, this isn't working. It was Jay that actually changed me. Because suddenly, obviously, you've got a child with a disability, you've got dyspraxia, and he's struggling eating his dinner. You then suddenly start to see the world a little bit different. And then, I used to fight with Deanna going, you've got to eat the knife and fork in the right hand. I don't make the rules, Deanna. That was me. Yeah? And then watching a kid with dyspraxia, you suddenly go, do you know what? I'm just glad he's eating. Yeah, well, that's the learning bit, isn't it? But you have to get to that bit first. That's the hardest bit. Okay, let's need to wind up. So what strategies? Did they have a chance to calm it down by themselves? Can we raise demand level? Did we raise it? Did we try and de-escalate? What was our body language like? Okay. Was there a limit? So did we have to go hands-on, basically? Or did we just, get hold of straight away? Can we give them a calm space to go to? So in things like classrooms, a place to run, to get away from kind of sensory input and stuff like that, just where they can calm down. That's why a lot of your kids like the seclusion room, by the way. It's the most peaceful room in the classroom, in the school. So guess what? They'll repeat the behaviour they did to get there. And then the teacher will go, you'll learn. I'm going, he's already learned. He loves it. It's bizarre. And then when they're calm, evaluate. Can we set a plan for next time? As a plan, it might be you as a family. Sit down and what went wrong in that situation? And then change. Do we need to change the environment? Do we need structure? Place demands that make sense? Yeah, a lot of our children need explanations, which again we're not used to. We might need to say to them, because your children go, what do I have to do with that? And you do the standard one, because that's why. Now imagine, right, remember earlier on I said get your clothes off, right? Now imagine you went why, and I went because. You're not going to go, well okay then I'll do it. And I'd have to give you a valid reason, wouldn't I? I might have to motivate you. Some of you, the bag of chips and a Bacardi Breezer. Okay. Depends. I like this quote, never force, never abandon. The last slide is really, I should be ashamed of myself. I've written a book. Ooh. You might have, I think I've sold 5 so far. I don't know. It's online. It's not quite an ebook. At the moment it's just a PDF, but it's going to be an ebook and a book sometime. I just wanted to do it as cheap as possible. I'm not a very good businessman because I just think you guys get ripped off all the time, and I'm like, you know what? I think it's like £4, something like that. Because yeah, I do need the money. I do, but you know what I mean. It's really bizarre, isn't it? It's like, weighted blanket like £300. That's a bit off. It is shocking how we get treated, isn't it? So yeah, I'm not like that. I'm cheap. Bag of chips and Bacardi Breezy too. So that's the link there. You can download it if you want. If you don't, I'm not going to go home and cry. It's out there in the universe. Right. I always end training like this. And sessions. You've been the best group I've had all night. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a 10-minute break. That's right, Anastasia? 5 minutes now.
That's your fault.
Hang on, 1 minute passed. Okay, 5-minute break. Best of luck, ladies. Fellas, we're all right, aren't we? Yeah, enjoy the queue. So go have your break. Drinks, the ladies at the back to help you. Go be free and then come back because this lady's amazing. Okay, go